Ladies and gentlemen, if you would take your seats, we're about to start. And we actually did get replies from all 6 candidates for City Council. Unfortunately, I don't see 2 of them here yet, so hopefully they will come in and join us. What I'm going to do first of all, though, is I'm going to ask if everybody would please stand and join me in a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so before we do start, I'm hoping that Jennifer Strophos and Anthony Fan do come in while we're taking care of a few logistics here. I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce. It's our honor to be able to put on this candidates forum this evening. You know, we traditionally have done this for I don't know how many elections that have been held, and it's a great pleasure and an honor to be able to do this. We are going to do our best to be as completely transparent and impartial as we possibly can be. We have a series of questions that we have been receiving at the Chamber office since June, July time when we first asked for questions. And we have done our best to make sure that they are worded in as impartial a way as we possibly can. And I would like to thank Joseph Weinstein for his assistance in helping me making sure that the questions are appropriate for what we are doing this evening. Thank you, Joseph. I would like to ask everybody in the room if they could please silence their phone. And I have been asked by the city clerk to make sure I let you all know that food and drink are not allowed in the council chambers. If you do have a bottle of water, then we understand that, but that would be the most that you would have in here. We did put out programs for everybody on the back table, so if you would like to help yourself to a program, please do. And I'd just like to outline how this evening will go. We have 1 hour for our council candidates. We have 6 candidates for City Council, and as I say, I'm hoping that the 2 that have not made it yet will arrive while we are setting up. Everybody did accept. We will not be taking any questions from the audience this evening because, as I say, we have been receiving those since June, July time at the Chamber, and we did put out a lot of communication to try and get that message out there to the citizens that we were accepting those questions. The way the forum will run is each candidate will get 2 minutes to do an opening statement, and at the end of this forum for the council, they will get 2 minutes to do a closing statement, and they will get 1 minute each for their chance to respond to the questions asked. Now, candidates, I would ask you, would you please pay attention to our timekeepers? They are going to give you halfway through. If it's a 1 minute question, that will be a 30-second, a 10-second notice, and then a stop. So could you please be aware when the 10-second goes up that you are going to need to round up? And I'm sorry, that's my phone going off. I need to silence. Having asked everybody else, my phone is making noise. So I will put that right in 1 moment. So candidates, if you would please be very aware of our timekeeper, because we will ask you to stop, and obviously that will reflect on the time and how much time everybody gets to answer. We want to be fair to everybody. That said, once we finish with the council candidates, we will be doing the same for the mayoral candidates, and it will be a similar format. So with that in mind, thank you. Let's get started. So and I need to introduce you to our moderator tonight. Our moderator tonight is Nina Moore, who is with the Fremont League of Women Voters. So Nina, over to you.
So we will start with opening statements. Each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to introduce themselves to the audience. The timekeepers will indicate when you have 60 seconds, 30 seconds, and 10 seconds remaining, and will then hold up the stop panel. Please do stop when asked or the moderator, or I will ask you to do so. And we will start with Mr. Ali Santosa. And please start with your opening statement.
All right, thank you. Good evening. Thanks to Milpitas Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this forum. Thanks to all of you who are here or watching at home. I'm a Milpitas resident of 26 years. My wife and I settled here in 1990. We raised 2 daughters here. I'm running for city council because I care so much about our community. And I always believe in giving back to the community. In 2008, you overwhelmingly voted me to the school board. Thank you. Fast forward to 2016, I'm now the president of the board. In about 8 years, working together with other school board members and other stakeholders, we made many positive changes to the school district. I don't make promises, but by working together, we made things happen. I'm a candidate with experience in both the city and school district. Also with experience in both public and private sector. Prior to serving on the school board, I was a member of Milpitas Planning Commission and Milpitas Telecommunication Commission. In private sector, I'm a senior product manager in high-tech business. Also senior level people manager in the past. I'm educated, MS degree in computer engineering, PS degree in electrical engineering, both from University of Southern California. Always provide innovative solutions, author or co-author of 13 United States patents. I'm honored to earn the endorsement of elected and appointed leaders, professional employees associations, including police and firefighters, and environmental group, Sierra Club, and League of Conservation Voters of Santa Clara County. I hope I earn your vote again this time to the City Council. Thank you.
To candidate Chua.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Evelyn Chua, resident of Milpitas for the last 28 years. I've been fortunate enough to be appointed by the council to Planning Commission, Emergency Preparedness, and Community Advisory Commission. My daughter, Waylin, and my son-in-law, Ann Bowie, are graduates of Milpitas High School. Ann went, right after high school, went to West Point, and my daughter went to UCSF, and then interned at Stanford. So we love the school. We love the school in here in Milpitas. My husband loves golf, and he plays occasionally at Summit Point, and most of the time at Labine. What is that, country club? No, not. At Labine Park, close to it, that golf course. I don't play, you can tell. So my pledge as your council member, I will lead. I will listen and be accessible. I will evaluate all the different opinions facing the issues that we have. I will act selflessly without just for the sake of all Milpitas residents. All my votes, all my decision will be for the benefits of the residents of Milpitas. This is my pledge to you. My vote will always be independent and it will be void of special interests. This is my pledge to the residents of Milpitas.
Thank you very much. And now we will move on to Mr. Fan.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Fan. First of all, I apologize for the tardiness. There was a little bit of traffic coming in. Again, my name is Anthony. You might not recognize my name because I have not gotten my lawn signs up yet. They'll be up. I just think that there's a lot more to running for office than having your lawn signs everywhere. I know this because I've worked in politics for a while now. I've seen what works and what doesn't work. And it's easy to get cynical. And that's why there's not a lot of young people in politics. However, I refuse to be cynical. I'm optimistic about the future of Milpitas, but we need good leadership. And tonight I want to have a conversation with you about the direction of our city. But before I do that, let me begin by introducing myself. I'm Anthony Phan. I'm a nonprofit director and educator, and I work for the Obama administration as a presidential appointee. But long before that, I was a little boy who grew up in poverty, coming from a family of immigrant refugees who worked long hours at the factories just for a chance for their children to make it, for a chance for me to make it. That was back when we had factory jobs. I'm running for city council to take on the establishment politics and establishment economics that screwed over the American middle class. We all deserve better. So let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we will move on to Mr. Nunez.
My name is Bob Nunez. I'm currently the board vice president for Milpitas Unified School District. I have 40 years of experience in education, started as a night custodian, worked my way up to superintendent, and ultimately now to the school board. Even though I spent my whole career in education, what I've also done in the last 6 years of my retirement, I have worked my way into the nonprofit world, and I have sat on commissions for the county. I'm currently the chair of the Behavioral Health Board. I am also the co-chair for La Raza Roundtable, which is a social justice organization, and the vice president for the NAACP. What that tells you is that I spend my time now helping out those that need help, those persons that don't have a voice, and I give them a voice. What I want to be able to do now that I've spent some time on the school board is provide assistance to all the citizens in Milpitas. I think that there is a natural partnership between the school district and the city that I can help facilitate. I've been doing that now for the last 2 years with the school district, and I think I can continue to help there. And I think that's one of the things that needs to be improved upon. I think Milpitas is an exceptional city. That's why I still live here. And my wife tells me we're going to continue to live here. And if she says that, then that means it's so. So at this point, I'd like to be on the city council. I'd like to be your city council person. And so I look forward to your vote and your support come November. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And before we move to the next candidate, I'd like to ask if Jennifer Strophus is in the room by any chance. No? Okay. Then we will move on to Mr. Tiernan.
Good evening. My name is Mark Tiernan. I'm a candidate for Milpitas City Council. I would also like to thank the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this candidates forum. For those of you here in the audience and those watching at home, I appreciate your engagement and I respectfully ask for your vote. I'm a member of a fourth generation Santa Clara County family. I was educated at Bellarmine, graduated from the University of California at Berkeley, and I have a law degree from Lincoln Law School. I'm running for city council because I'm concerned about the direction our city is headed in. There are 3 very big local issues that I've been very concerned about. I've been knocking on doors since the middle of June, and many of you in the city feel the same way. We have to get serious about addressing our traffic congestion in Milpitas. I support a plan that links up 680 and 880 at Mission Boulevard in Fremont. The Valley Transportation Authority has this plan. I support it. It would significantly reduce the traffic coming down Jacqueline, Calveras, and Montague Expressway. Secondly, you've all seen your water rate bill go sky high. I supported the citizens' initiative that would have put tiered water rates back on the ballot. Unfortunately, our city council voted not to do that. I respectfully disagree with that decision. And thirdly, I think there's been a lot of wasteful government spending. The latest example is spending over $500,000 on an outside garbage consultant. I'm a former purchasing manager, at Applied Materials in the county of Santa Clara. I've actually done garbage contracts. Believe me, it's not rocket science, and we don't need to spend $500,000. I respectfully ask for your vote this evening. I want to let you know I've been endorsed by the League of Conservation Voters and the Sierra Club, as well as the Santa Clara County Democratic Party. I urge you to visit my website at marktiernan.com, and always remember that together we can do better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that concludes opening statements. Now we are going to move on to questions. And we had said we were going to do this in alphabetical order, so we are going to start the next question with Ms. Chua, and then we will move on to Mr. Nunez and then Mr. Fan, so that we go back into the alphabetical order for the questions. Each candidate will have up to 1 minute to give their answer. That 1 minute's pretty short, actually. The timekeepers will indicate when the candidate has 30 seconds and 10 seconds remaining, and will then hold up the stop paddle. Please do stop when asked, or again, I will ask you to do so. We will continue to rotate through the candidates. So, Ms. Chua, we will ask you first, the first question. I do want to let our audience members know that there are 2 seats for City Council, so as you're listening to the candidate responses, please keep that in mind. Okay, so the first question, starting with Ms. Chua, is measures I and J impact the hills overlooking Milpitas. Measure K protects park and open space land. Explain your views on developments or limiting development on the hillsides and or elsewhere in Milpitas.
That's a very good question. I'm actually one of the 4 people in 2015 that came up to the council and make recommendation to put I&J on the ballot this year. The reason is it's expiring. The Hillside Ordinance and the UGB, Urban Development Growth Boundaries, is expiring in 2018. And that means there is no restriction on development in the hillside. So I'm yes on I, I'm yes on J, and I'm yes on K. The reason for that, 1 minute is too short. The reason is this is the only way we can contain growth here in Milpitas. We will limit the growth on the hillside. We also will limit the growth on parks, open space.
Thank you. Your time
and
is up.
parkland.
And could I ask the timekeeper to hold the signs up high so I can see them too? Thank you. Okay, moving on now to Mr. Nunez, the same question. I absolutely can. Measures I and J impact the hills overlooking Milpitas. Measure K protects park and open space land. Explain your views on developments or limiting developments on the hillsides and or elsewhere in Milpitas.
So I also support and would vote yes for I and J, and actually led the school board in putting onto our agenda support for K. All you have to do is go down 880 or 680 and see the very next city to see all the development they have up the hillside. I think we need to keep our hillsides the way they look now. We don't have that much green space that you can really look at. With the development that's taking place that's already in the books in our general plan, we need to be able to keep what we have. And if you go up and down the state of California, you can see all the development that has already taken place on hillsides. I think Milpitas is unique in that regard, and I think we need to keep it the way it is.
Thank you very much. And now we move on to Mr. Fan.
Thank you for your question. Well, first of all, I think that to say that, yes, I support development or no, I don't support development is a very nuanced response. I believe in smart growth. However, it really does require thinking. And I would say that in regards to the hillside development, I would personally not support that. I would support a urban growth boundary because it does set some of the restrictions on density development. However, all of us on the days right now, we swore an oath that if we were elected, we would uphold the duties that's required of us of the office, and the measures and measures J and K undermines the democratic process, because we would be are supposed to represent you. So I would prefer that the city council makes the policies.
Thank you very much. And we now move on to Mr. Tiernan.
Thank you. I am definitely in support in protecting our hillsides. I support measures I, J, and K. I'd like to talk for a minute or so about Measure K. As many of you know, we want to make sure that the rezoning of parks and open space to residential or commercial development must go before the voters of Milpitas before it can be approved. I strongly support that. I urge people to also support Measure K because that may put us in position to turn that vacant lot next to our library into a park and possibly a Milpitas Community Museum. Our community deserves it and wants it, and please join me in supporting these measures. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we move to Mr. Ali Santosa.
Thank you. Measure I, J, and K. I support them, all of them. As a matter of fact, for Measure K, we, the school board, we passed the resolutions to support that. And also, you will see my name on the ballot, basically supporting Measure K. So I'm going to keep it brief. That's my answer, because it's the right thing to do, and we need the open space, and we need the park. And this Measure K especially will put the power back to the voter in case if need rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we now move on to the next question. And this one, we will start with Mr. Nunez. Again, 1 minute. And may I just remind you that when you're done speaking, please turn off your speaker button. Okay, next question. Measure B will bring in over $40 million for local road repair in Milpitas. Do you support Measure B? And if it passes, what will be your role in ensuring our needs are a priority?
So yes, I do support Measure B. I think that the $40 million that come in for Milpitas, actually, since we are over 70 with regard to the score, we get to decide locally how those $40 million are spent. And so I think first I would make sure that we have input from the community, but we actually start pinpointing where those dollars are spent, which roads, which sections of the city. But then also make sure that those promises that have already been made with regard to 237 and Montague are kept. And I think that that goes along with who's appointed to the committees and to the boards that are appointed to VTA. And I think that's something we need to make sure is done immediately. I keep looking over here to make sure I don't see the thing that I knew it. So I think it's twofold. One, to make sure that we have community input here and that we have representation and loud representation at VTA. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Phan.
Sure, I support Measure B. The $40 million that's coming to Milpitas, we can certainly use that. Measure B will decrease traffic congestion. I know, I came in late because of traffic. I know that traffic is a huge issue that many of our residents are concerned about. And moreover, Measure B will create a lot of construction jobs, local jobs that will invigorate our economy. So in short, I support Measure B, and I encourage all of you to also support it. It is a good investment for our future.
Thank you. Candidate Tiernan.
Thank you very much. I am one of the endorsers of Measure B. I strongly support it. One of the great things about the $40 million that will be coming into Milpitas is we'll have an opportunity to do very much needed road repairs and also the possibility of widening the bridge on Calveras Boulevard over the railroad tracks. These type of incremental improvements will go some measure to helping our traffic congestion problems. But rest assured, we still need to work on other elements of our traffic congestions. But this is a good start in making sure that we're spending the required amounts of money on road repairs and maintenance. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Alexantosa.
All right, thank you. Yes, I support Measure B. As a matter of fact, I endorse it. Measure B will be good for us because it's going to provide the necessary funding we need for road repairs. And also, of course, it's going to create jobs also. So it's good, but we need to make sure that we get our fair share that is promised. And to do that, we need to make sure we have representations also at the VTA. All right, thank you. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you. And now, Ms. Chua.
I don't support Measure B. I say no to Measure B. Because the reason why I say no to Measure B, one, somebody mentioned 44 million. But you have to look at, for 30 years, Milpitas will be contributing over 350 million based on 1/2 cent tax. They're looking more on the regional side, but we should focus on the city, our city traffic congestion. The 237 expansion has been on the list of BTA forever. It has not been done. The overpass, the Calaveras Overpass Bridge expansion is not even on the list. So there's no priority for Milpitas. The gridlock is really at those two intersections, the 237 and the Calaveras Bridge overpass. If I'm gonna do it, if I'm gonna collect 1/2 cent tax, it's gonna be spent on the city of Milpitas, not on the county. Sorry, I ran out of time.
Okay, thank you. And that concludes this round of questions. And now we go on to the third question, and we will start with, I think if I'm in the right order, Mr. Phan. Have you taken a position on Measure L? And if so, please share your rationale for how you arrived at your position. This is a two-part question. The second part is, will you support the outcome and the will of the voters on Measure L if you are elected?
Well, Measure L, I think, is heavily flawed. I think the process was rushed, and the staff that recommended the position really cheated the city. They cheated the residents because they did not disclose the transportation costs that would come out of this. It would cost taxpayers millions and millions more over time, and we never explored that. We never said, hey, something's going on here. There needs to be an audit of that process, and I do not support Measure L. And because I think that the measure was heavily flawed put together, I cannot, in good conscience, support implementing that.
Thank you, Mr. Tiernan. Oh, wait, I'm wrong. Mr. Nunez. Oh, no. Okay, excuse me. When we got out of order seating, I got a little confused here. Mr. Tiernan.
I'm sitting over here all by myself, so I'm glad we got the order. Thank you very much. I am voting no on Measure L for 3 reasons. Number one, I believe the process of selecting the garbage contractors was flawed to begin with. Milpitas has an in-house professional purchasing staff. But for some reason, there was an agenda to hire an outside garbage consultant for $500,000. I think that's ridiculous. Secondly, I think Republic Services has been a tremendous partner for the city of Milpitas. We, in fact, have the second lowest garbage rates in the county of Santa Clara. And thirdly, I believe that moving forward together, Measure L, voting against Measure L is in the best interest of the residents of Milpitas. We enjoy a tremendous relationship with free dump days, recycling programs, and conservation programs. I believe we should keep that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we move on to Mr. Alacentosa.
All right, thank you. Yes, I walk door to door campaigning. I realized that Measure L caused division among the communities. If you ask my vote, I'm going to tell you my vote is yes on L. The reason is very simple. It's because, I'm looking at it as a matter of principle and process. Yes on Measure L means to uphold the City Council decision. Now, unfortunately, both sides has delivered some confusing arguments. Voters are confused. Regarding the questions, whether I will implement the outcome of Measure L if I elected, of course. When the votes are tallied, if I'm elected to the City Council, I will abide by the decision of the voters, regardless of the outcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Chua.
Thank you, Nina. I'm voting yes on Measure L, and very simple reason. If a number of residents came up to me and said, "Evelyn, this is so confusing. One says the no and the yes on the L. It's so confusing." They said, "You're going to increase the price. You're going to." The other one says it's going to reduce the price, and it's just so confusing. So I look at it logically. Less garbage over at Newbie Island, so that's good for the city. Less traffic, I would think, and then less. When you're judging as your service, you go by performance. I go by performance. Are the citizens happy of the performance of the current service provider? Obviously not. So I go by performance. I'm voting yes on L.
Thank you. And now Mr. Nunez.
So mine would be yes on L. I listened to all of the discussion up here, which is much like what I hear at the doors. And really, as I read L, it isn't about all of that. It is, do you uphold the vote of the City Council? You stay with that contract. And in my mind, there were certain companies that put in a bid. They made a selection, and that's what I think we need to uphold. Certain companies did not put in a bid, and so I don't think we turn around and now say, let's let them have another opportunity to do that. They had an opportunity. So whatever company put in their bid through that process and was successful, they're the ones. And so I said we uphold that process because that's what the City Council put in place. I have my own opinion about the process, but that is not what Measure L talks about.
Thank you very much. And the next question, we start with Mr. Tiernan. And the question is, traffic congestion in Milpitas has been a problem for many years. What are your thoughts on mitigating traffic congestion in Milpitas?
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, I think we have to get very serious about addressing our traffic congestion problems. As I mentioned earlier, I support a plan that the Valley Transportation Authority has about an overhead skyway linking up 680 and 888 Mission Boulevard. But just as important, we have to realize that there's a good news, bad news situation with high traffic congestion. The good news is that our economy is in much better shape than it was 8 or 9 years ago. And that is in large part responsible for the traffic coming through Milpitas. We see people coming down 680, coming down Jacqueline, Calveras and Montague Expressway. Those people don't live in Milpitas, and we have to find a solution that gets those people off of our streets. But more importantly, we have to digest the development that we've already approved. 7,000 units in the Transit Area Specific Plan. Let's digest that development before we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Mr. Alasantosa.
All right, thank you. My take is by supporting Measure B, we will get some benefit from it. On the also, BART, we just need to work with the right stakeholders to make sure that BART will start on time. We'll start service in Milpitas on schedule. And then get people out of the car as much as we can. That means we need to work closely with VTA so that the schedule and the routes are optimum and create bicycle and pedestrian-friendly facilities. And there are many others areas that we need to look at. For example, shuttle buses. So that's my take. So encourage people to take public transportation also, but at the same time, we need to make sure that the facility exists. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Chua.
Traffic. By voting no on Measure B and having our own funds to do our own projects, I think that would help us. Really, the congestion is over at 237 and the Calaveras Bridge overpass. Another way to do it is the housing and traffic are all interrelated. So in developments, being in planning, I would suggest a reduced number of parking spaces for all developments. That means less cars in the streets of Milpitas. On the other hand, we have to improve our bike system and also pedestrian system. And as I mentioned before, we also need to have some type of shuttle system. This is a small city. If you want to go to Safeway, we should be able to have a shuttle system that we can go or even pick up our children at school. I always ran out of time. I don't know why. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nunez.
So actually, a lot of these were really good ideas, and I think that the bikes, the shuttles, really working with VTA, because the bus system here really isn't all that great here in the city of Milpitas. But I actually think that if you look at when we talk about having commercial buildings on the first floor and then the housing up on top, really one of the things we should be looking at is having some of the economic development here so that more jobs are here so persons aren't having to get in their cars. And I think we need to take a look at growing our own economic development department here to start getting some of those businesses to come back and looking at some of our empty buildings here so they can have jobs here so people don't have to leave. And that way we could have fewer cars on the road because if we can make use of the shuttles and the bikes and those things that we are talking about having here. And then we wouldn't have those persons traveling up and down Calaveras and Montague. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now Mr. Phan.
Sure, thank you for the question. Earlier we were hyped up about the $40 million that's coming up in from Measure B. Now, there was a time when Milpitas would get a lot more revenue from the state, but ever since we did away with the RDA funds, it's been slow. So I'm proud to be endorsed and supported by a number of statewide leaders. State Treasurer John Chang. I recognize that one of the representatives from Senator Wachowski's office, Tim Orozco, is in the audience here. I look forward to working with members of the state legislature to find more funding for these projects that can reduce traffic. I look forward to looking at these solutions, and I will advocate to have representation on the BART board. We keep talking about the VTA board. BART's going to come to Milpitas. We deserve representation. So that's my response. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have time for one more question before closing remarks, but this is a one-word answer. So you only get one word. That's it. No minute, no 30 seconds. One word. In one word, describe the best thing you can bring to the leadership of our city, and we will start with Mr. Ali Santosa.
One word. Consensus.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Chua.
Independent.
Mr. Nunez.
Experience.
Mr. Phan.
Ethics.
Mr. Tiernan.
Transparency.
Well, thank you very much. This was very interesting, and now we will move on to our closing statements. Again, each candidate will have up to 2 minutes for their closing statements. The timekeepers will let you know when you have 60 seconds left, 30 seconds left, and 10 seconds, and then they'll hold up the stop panel. And for the closing remarks, we will start with Ms. Chua.
I would like to ask for your vote. And as I pledge to you, being on the council, I will serve you with honor and humility. I will lead, listen to all of you, and be accessible. Evaluate all the different and opposing views that might come to us. Be transparent and discuss with you the decisions I made. I will be transparent, and I will, whether we agree or disagree, I will tell you why I voted the way I voted. I will always vote because I want to protect the quality of life of all Milpitas residents. As you can see, I have the experience being in planning, in development, in land use, and in several ordinances. I also have experience in community advisory, which relates to community beautification with abatement and anything related to the community like flu shots and planting trees. I'm also vice chair of emergency preparedness, so I'm trained on how to get the community prepared for natural disasters as well as man-made. Natural meaning flood or earthquakes, and man-made are terrorism, biological or chemical. I'm here for you, and I'm not a realtor, I'm not a developer, I'm just an analyst from a bank. I'm just here because this is my home, and I want to keep it that way. Thank you so much, and I hope for your vote. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. And now we move on to candidate Nunez.
So thank you all for coming, because you could have been many other places tonight. I'm on the school board because I care about families and residents. I care about students. At this point, it's an opportunity for me to take all of that and really help residents, everybody that lives in a home. 40 years in education taught me that you need to take care of the whole family. I'm a member of 3 of the community organizations in this city, and when I say that, I'm an active member of Kiwanis, Rotary, and the Executive Alliance because I care and I want to be involved. I belong to a number of outside organizations in the county and other cities because I want to be involved. I think it's really important to remember that as a retired person, I can spend my time any place, but I really want to spend it here where I live. As I look at it, this city is one of the few cities in this county that there's still buildable land, and we have to make sure that the right things are built. and that it's a controlled situation so that we aren't building homes before we know what we're going to do with all the persons that come in those homes, that the school district and the city, in fact, are partners moving forward. At this point, I think that in the last 2 years, I've learned that we need to make sure that that partnership is a true partnership. And I think I can help do that. But more importantly, I've had my 40 years has allowed me to do the kinds of partnerships at the state level, the county level, and the local level that others talk about wanting to do. I have done that. And I will continue to do that for this city moving forward. So I look for your vote in November. And thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Thank you. And now we move on to candidate Phan.
Thank you all for coming to this, and thank you to the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce and Liz and your team for putting this together. I'm running for city council because it is too late for establishment politics and establishment economics. I'm running for city council because our local economy is rigged. And as jobs continue to be shipped out of town, working families will continue to work longer hours and be paid lower wages. I'm running for city council to foster a thriving economy that works for all, not just the elites and the special interests that they represent. I'm running for city council because we need to be bold and we need to be brave and we need to take on the toxic and corrupt culture in City Hall. I'm here to shake things up. We need a new deal. We need a better deal. The old days weren't working, folks. And I'm running for city council, but I'm not running a campaign. I'm launching a movement, and we need you to join us. Everybody watching at home, please log on to www.anthonyphan.org to learn more about how you can join our team and move our city forward. We need you. Thank you. My name is Anthony Phan.
Thank you. Moving on, Mr. Tiernan.
Thank you very much, Nina, and Liz, thank you very much, and to the Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this event. I respectfully ask for your vote this evening. I believe that my volunteer work in the community over the last 10 years gives me a balanced perspective in working with folks from all walks of life in Milpitas. I currently serve as the president of the Milpitas Historical Society. I serve as the vice president of government affairs for the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce, and I'm a past president of the Milpitas Rotary Club, and I'm active in the Kiwanis, and I'm a former chair of the Milpitas Planning Commission. All of these experiences give me the experience and the perspective to offer myself up as a candidate for Milpitas City Council. My top priorities will be to fight to keep our neighborhoods and streets safe, to work on innovative traffic solutions, to work on and to make sure that city services, especially water and garbage, are delivered in a cost-effective, customer service-oriented manner. Our residents deserve that, and I will fight for you. I promise to act with integrity, ethics, and transparency. There will be no hidden agendas. I will be in constant communication with the voters of Milpitas. I am grateful for the endorsements that I received from the League of Conservation Voters and the Sierra Club. I am endorsed by Republicans and Democrats alike. Former Republican Assembly Member Jim Canine, current Assembly Member Rich Gordon, again, as I mentioned, the former Milpitas mayors Henry Manayan and Pete McHugh, Congressman Mike Honda, Bob Wajkowski, and Supervisor Dave Cortese. These folks have made their choice in endorsing me. I respectfully ask for you for your vote in November, and together we can do better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And then we will conclude with Mr. Ali Santosa.
All right, thank you. Thank you all for listening. There are many items on the ballot this year, and there are many of us on the ballot too. We may not be able to agree on everything, But there is one thing that we all can agree. Milpitas is still growing. We have our challenges. But together, we want Milpitas to be a better city for all of us, including for our future generation too. I'm a strong believer in teamwork. That's why I use the word consensus. Finding innovative and win-win solution also. This is an opportunity to elect someone with passion, experience, educated, knowledge, and most importantly, proven results to serve in the City Council. As you already noticed, I earned the endorsement of all 5 professional employees association. They know they want to have good leadership at the City Council. Plus, the endorsement from 2 environmental groups, Sierra Club and League of Conservation Voters of Santa Clara County. I also want to mention that the current council member, Masha Greeley, who served in the school district as a school board member and former president for 20 years, and 6 of those years, we worked together. So there are 2 open seats available. I hope I earn your vote to put me in one so I can work as a team with others on the City Council, regardless of the outcome of the election. Last but not least, I want to say thanks to everyone at Milpitas Unified School District. I have good success story to tell because all of us working together as a cohesive team. I did not do it alone. We work as a team. Thanks to my family, friends, neighbors, supporters, volunteers,
Your time
donors.
is up. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, thank you.
That concludes our City Council Candidates Forum. And I want to thank all of the candidates, and maybe we can give them a round of applause. Thanks to the candidates. Thanks to all of you for coming. And we will take a 5-minute break, and then we will come back for the mayoral forum.